Good day, this is Jimmy. We're going to come into the shop today, round up a few tools and see what we can get going on. The project we've been working on is a 1970 K5 Blazer. And we put a floor pan in, had a little trouble with it. Wasn't the right floor pan. Floor pan probably was for a C10 pickup of the same year or a Suburban. Maybe even a three-door Suburban or something. Either way it was about 7 inches too long. So it's been a time, but we're going to carry this thing up to the end. But today I'm going to discuss some things about the C10, the K5, the C15, the Suburban. Every one of them in that area, early 60s to early 70s type trucks, and even on in the newer ones, but especially about that year. The rockers, the B pillars, the A pillars. It didn't really matter whether you were in the salt or what you were doing. Uh, Whether you were up north, it didn't really matter whether you were up north, um, in a salty area or whatever. They had a way of collecting moisture and holding rocks and mud. It just slung mud up into that part of the car. And, well, over a period of time, now we're talking about an old vehicle to start with. We're talking about something with a little age on it. It's going to have rust anyway. But I was communicating with Ian Russell about some of his stuff, and he said, well, in the Mojave Desert, there was no such thing as rust. He said that he didn't have to worry about it. I was asking him about the primer, instead of not having primer and stuff on the vehicles, because he would push them out and change around, start on different ones. But he was explaining about the, no lack of humidity and all that things. But you got a truck, and you're going to put it in the mud, you're going to drive it around. Over 20, 30 years, if it's got any place that's going to hold residue, well, that's going to rot out. So every old vehicle has a place that's going to rot out. So I believe that this video coming up is going to be a very popular video because anybody that's restoring these type of things, old trucks, boy, I hear Bella's having a time back there. We dressed out I say we, me and my wife helped me put it up. And my children showed up and helped a little bit, but my neighbor had a cow that he gave me that I had to put in the freezer. And I'm still kind of sore trying to get over it. It's been about, and of course, the way those things go, I don't know if you're even familiar with it, but I dress a lot of deer. I even dress a lot of cows and wild animals and stuff. And well, dressing the deer, the cow, we were dealing with about 50-degree temperature. So the temperature was okay, but you had a limited window to get that thing in a cooler somewhere, on ice, in a freezer, whatever you're going to do. So it's like I had to push for about 10 hours, cutting that thing up and getting it in there. And I'm not as young as I used to be. And getting kind of old. Not as young as I used to be. And, well, I got it put up. My wife put it up. I got it cut up. A little nick here and there on the old fingers, but nothing very substantial. Well, I'm just getting rested up for that. We're fisting from that, and just getting rested up from that, and we're fisting to get into this K5 Blazer, which would, as I'm saying, if you've got a C10 or you've got a C15 or Suburban or something like that, and you're dealing with rusty rockers, this video is going to also be for you because it's going to show you some things that you're going to run into. Now, just talking today, just carrying on today about a vehicle that's going to be around a little while. Going to see a lot of things happen to this vehicle through the transformation of this restoration. And the main thing, it's pretty way down there, and it's coming from almost a frame up type deal. But because it's a two-wheel drive K5 Blazer, it's pretty limited. We're probably talking about there were 3,500 of them made that were two-wheel drive. I'm not saying there wasn't a bunch of them, but they were generally four-wheel drive vehicles in this particular year. So we're going to bring this thing up. It's hard to find parts for it, even when you buy parts. We bought some parts. We've got some rockers. Got a B-pillar. Probably going to put about 50% of that B-pillar in. Already put the floor pan in, and because the floor pan was a little off, it had to be cut down. There's even going to have to be just a little bit of alteration done to the side for this rocker panel to go in. I have noticed that someone, I guess when they cut the old floor pan out, they cut the tips off of the B-pillar post. And probably going to have find us a donor vehicle on that particular part. But I say here we are around the shop. Gonna maybe explain some of these things that you're going to run into if you get into this particular thing. Got a kit. The kit for the rockers came with a splash shield on the inside, which actually our new floor pan had that, so we're covered on that. But I'll show you what the splash shield on the kit's going to look like. And usually that's, like I say, this is a hereditary problem that you're going to run into. So that splash shield, you usually have to replace the edge of that floor pan, that splash shield, the bottom of that B-pillar, the bottom of that A-pillar and the bottom of that B-pillar on anyone that you're dealing with. I know a lot of times you see these videos where they're going to spray some foam or this here. I'm trying to tell you how to do it right. Let's just say the way I do it, because I'd love it to outlast me at this point in my life. And I would just, if it would just carry on another 30 years with this repair, a 30-year repair is a good repair. This truck has made it 40 years. Now it needs to be repaired. In another 40 years, it'll probably need to be repaired again. But it will be because the design, unless you change the design of this vehicle, it's going to pack up mud and all that. What we could do at this point is when you go back with your vehicle, when you make this repair, you do some serious undercoating. I'm talking about really serious undercoating. And hey, you should be fine. You should be fine. Most of the old cars in this era weren't undercoated. And I know it's hard to believe, but most of them weren't even painted underneath. So they learn a lot of lessons the hard way. And now we're paying for it. So here we are. We're taking care of that. Let me go on over to the truck and show you a few things that we're going to be dealing with. All right, I'm over here. My old dog, this is what we were hearing. She's kind of like a horse. Anyway, this is old Bella. Me and Bella are evaluating the situation, trying to figure out. She's kind of the supervisor here, but well, she wants me to get back to work, I guess. Anyway, here's our B-pillar. Our issues with our B-pillar. Now, I talked about it. I told you we got a kit, and the kit come with two pieces. One of them we're not going to need, but we'll need a small piece of it. A small piece. By a small piece of it, I mean because because the floor pan was not exactly the right floor pan. Got to cut this little hump out, and we have to continue across here to about right here. So this rocker that we've got will roll in, and it rolls in actually to the top of that. It rolls in. This would have been the replacement part for this, but we got this done with the floor pan we put in. Anyway, I'm not going to bore you with that because we're going to kind of show you what you would do for that C10 or that C15, and as this is a K5, but the old 70-ish type trucks, probably a lot older, and maybe a couple years into the 70s, this would be what we'd be dealing with. Now, let me point out the A-pillars have been chopped. Now, I kind of know why they did it. I kind of hate they did it, but they cut the ends off these A-pillars. Now, in order to take the whole floor pan out, which they did, that had to be removed. There was no way to get this floor pan out. Now, what they did with the part, I do not know. So we're going to be looking for a donor. Like I say, I'm discussing what we've got coming up in the shop this week. You'll stay tuned to us, if you'll subscribe to us, if you'll like this video, you'll get some of this upcoming stuff on this old truck. Looking at the B pillar, got another B pillar. Got some bad stuff here. This is going to be a section. I'm waiting on this section to complete this to put the rocker on. But we're going to be focusing on this B pillar. Making this B pillar right. And this hump, we're going to cut this out. That's what the focus is going to be on. Now, I can show you, I do have a new, don't get dizzy on me here. I've got a new B pillar. On this whole section. However, I just need the end of it. Probably come up, it would be nice if I could come up right in here to where that well would be behind the rocker. And we may attempt that. Got quite a few things to do. Don't want to overwhelm you or me, either one. But we're going to go in here and cut this out and make this repair.
Stay tuned, like and subscribe for keeping update.